flux core tack. Kind of ugly, but it ain't going nowhere. Ooh, the mug. All right, so tack welded that on both sides. I did it the first time and I got it wrong. I got the position wrong, so I had to cut the tacks and redo it. But I think I got it clocked because I did one tack, stuck it under there, and it still stayed in place to where I think where it needs to be. So I'm gonna double check, make sure everything's good to go, and then I'll have to bring the long straight piece out and tack weld it in place. So I got marks for it. Been using marks a lot or something just to mark it. That way everything lines up, and then we'll tack weld that in, test fit it all, and if it's good to go, then we'll burn this in. All right, I'm gonna go test fit it. You can see where I had it tacked before. There's my new lines I made. You can see where I had it. I need to reposition it to a better angle. And so this is the better spot here. So I'm gonna go ahead and looks like it test fitted it. Looks like everything's lining up like it should. So I'm gonna mark it right there and put it all in place and see how it looks. All right, I'm gonna weld this up. Let's get this thing under the truck, test fit it, everything lines up. And we'll probably go ahead and burn those two ends in. Went ahead and wanted to take a moment what I'm wanting to do here. So the biggest dilemma I had with the exhaust system on the 66, and even when I owned my 1970 that I used to have, I was never able to take the exhaust system apart. Everything was welded one solid piece up until you got to the collector. And if I ever wanted to take the exhaust system out for whatever reason, I couldn't unless I dropped a trailing arm, and that's a big inconvenience. So what I want to do when doing this one is I want to be able to at least remove the muffler. So what I'm doing here is I'm drawing 4 roughly 30 millimeter lines kind of centering it as best as possible, and I'm going to put 4 cuts all the way around it. I've already done this side, but as you can see, that's what I want to do, because in doing so I'm able to use this clamp that I bought from Summit Racing, and I can clamp that nice and tight. It won't move. That way, if I need to take the exhaust system out for whatever reason, I can remove the clamp, should be able to slide the muffler out, and then I can slide the whole pipe out. I've already did all that, and it works great. I've already done the passenger side, and I will be under there showing y'all everything. It's probably 90% done. I may have to make a few tweaks and adjustments, getting the muffler clocked the way I want it, but other than that, it's done. I already got an exhaust tip made for it. I was gonna weld that in, but I decided to just clamp it in. That way, if I keep these mufflers and I relocate them to a different position and I'm not using tips, I'm going to run more exhaust pipe, then, you know, I can remove that tip and then run pipe in there, and then if I want to, weld it in or put another clamp there. So that's where I'm at. I'm gonna go ahead and put the relief cuts in here, and now I got to clean up all that metal flashing from cutting. So I'm gonna get to it. I just wanted to stop and show y'all what I'm doing with the mufflers. You know what, guys? I'm gonna have to do it. I have to do it. I have to make a joke. It's a pun. This kind of work is exhausting. Ooh. I'm here all night. I'm here all afternoon, people. I'm here all afternoon. Slide that like so. Pretty much it. And then these clamps, I'll run it in sideways, tighten it in, Same thing with my muffler tip. So, oh, not all the way back. There we go. So it's roughly mocked up. Everything looks good, got clearance. I got the rear end pushed all the way up as if it was aired out, so like everything's lining up okay. Alright, pull this back apart. Then I got to do this thing, because what I did is kind of bent it to make a U shape to kind of support it more so than just being welded on the side like the previous exhaust shop did. They use the exact same hangers, which is why I bought these, but they just welded it, like cut it right there and just welded it on each end. I thought this would give it a little bit more support, hooking it up, get a little bit more welding, that way it should not break, hopefully. So I'm gonna pull this pipe out and go from there. I have to admit, I can kind of tell that this, even though this is a lower grade stainless steel, this is a 409 grade stainless, but it is very, it does have a lot of, you can still stick a magnet to it. Let me show you. This is a pretty stout magnet, you know. You see the effort I'm having to do to pull it off. Same thing up here, that's steel, obviously. So, but I noticed when I was welding the other side, even after you got all the slag off, because I'm doing flux core, it still had a brownish look to it, kind of dark grayish brown. It's kind of weird. So I don't know, the little bit of stainless that is in here is kind of probably maybe a reaction to just the standard wire, because I could not find anybody that had a roll, just a simple roll of flux core stainless. So, but it's welding in, it's doing like it's supposed to do. So it's a little on the ugly side, but this guy welds every single day. He's welding. I mean, look at his welds, not all that great. Like, look at all that porosity right there, all the holes. And this is an exhaust shop, so yeah, no big deal. Yeah, you see how he did his? They just kind of cut it off and just got a little weld there, and that's it. Me, I'm kind of doing a curve, kind of making a J hook. Gives me a little bit more surface to weld to and a little bit more support. And the nice thing about it is that's landing right on that lap joint, so I have the outer pipe and the inner pipe supporting each other, so I can actually slightly turn the heat up a little bit and not blow through this 16 gauge steel. So that makes it nice right in that area. So I'm gonna stop talking and I guess go ahead and burn all this in. All right guys, I'm gonna get to it. All right guys, got all the pipe welded. Turned out okay, I guess. I mean, I'm a beginner welder. I haven't done this stuff before. Never welded a pipe before, so you know, as you're traveling, to make that curve plus keeping your gun angle was a bit tricky and challenging for me, but it seemed like it turned out okay. Only bad thing about flux cores, it makes all that slag and stuff, and even with the spatter spray, it still gets everywhere. Got a little bit of porosity here and there. I'm not too worried about it. It's an exhaust tubing. Brackets in there. Weld's a little ugly, but it ain't going nowhere. That ain't going nowhere. So, all right guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get this pipe put in, get the muffler mounted. The last thing I need to do is make an exhaust turn down for the driver's side. I've already done the passenger side, so what I want to do with that is pull it off and kind of use it as a template to make the other side so they both look pretty similar. All right guys, I'm gonna get all this under the truck and go from there. Alright, so there's the exhaust turn down slash tip that I made for the passenger side. It was the 90 that came into the kit, so I got another 90 already on the vise here. I had to cut, so I wanted to make sure. Remember, when I doing all this stuff, my biggest issue was the old mufflers were coming in contact with the brake line, so I wanted to shorten the tip. That's why I took an inch off the back of this, because it brought it even further away from the brake line. Nice thing about it's already got like a nice scratch line that's right at an inch long, so I'm going to use that as a guide. Cut the inch off, and then obviously what I got to do here to cut it, clean up all the edges, because I don't want no shaving. I want to be able to put my hands in there and not worry about getting a metal splinter. So all right guys, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off. We'll install the tips. I'll do a little roll around under there, show you how the exhaust turned out, and then we'll fire this truck up. All right guys, I'm gonna get to it. All right guys, so there's those lap joint connectors. These are all 304 stainless. They're supposed to be polished. They're not very shiny, but I didn't really care for that. I just wanted something stainless that didn't rust. Make sure the studs are up. I may actually reposition this one where the studs are inside facing towards the end. That way you don't see all that sticking out. So I may have to take this off and then flip it over to do that. But for now, it's in there. It's definitely not going to hit anything on the ground. The actual ones that I bought, they were, they call them butt connectors, which basically just joins two pieces of pipe that are the same diameter. I won't be needing those. I don't need those. I just kind of got them because I didn't know if I was going to use them or not, so I do not need them. Yeah, my welds turned out okay. I think they're going to hold up just fine. Not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's an exhaust system. This ain't going to SEMA, so yeah, it looks like all my clearances are pretty good, relatively equal to one another. Yeah, there's the mufflers. This is also a bonus for me. I can take these mufflers off and drop the exhaust system if I ever need to take it out. And that's why I did the tips this way, because if I decide to keep these mufflers, if I really do like them, but let's say I do something totally different from what's here, and I want to do a continuation of more pipe, however this is going to be routed, then, you know, I can remove these tips instead of having them, because if they were welded in, then I'd have to cut it, and then you couldn't get another piece of pipe in there. So this is why I did it this way. Plus, if I need to change the angle if I want to. But that's a big plus right here. It's one of the main reasons why I did this. Look at all that daylight between the brake line and the tip. So I think I can officially remove this stupid thing and get it out of there. So all right guys, not too bad I guess for my first exhaust system. I've never built one. I don't really want to build another one anytime soon, because being on a concrete floor, being on a concrete floor with jack stands is not the funnest thing in the world. Even with a creeper, it's still no fun. But yeah, I think everything's gonna be all right. So now the last thing to conclude this video, we need a sound clip. We need to know what these things sound like. All right guys, I'm gonna get the camera set up and we're gonna fire this thing up, see what she sounds like. Do what? with, guys. All right, I'm gonna shut this thing off and get it probably on the ground and take a little test drive. Oh man, gotta love her. So this is pretty much what I came up with for the rear hanger as far as a mounting location. Just welded it to the top of the tip. It's actually at such a sharp angle, I may relocate it or do something different, or actually make longer tips, because this one right here is sagging a little bit. It still hadn't broke or failed anything, and it's still pretty secure, but I may be changing that up here pretty soon. But for now, it's holding up the back of the muffler, and the exhaust system a lot more secure. So man, that thing's quieter. Baby?
Huh?
Coloring?
Yeah.
Alright.
Dad, look at Daisy's pot.
Sounds pretty good.
It has purple.
What do you think, buddy? You think it sounds pretty good? It's a lot quieter, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not as loud as it used to be. Like these mufflers, guys. All right, we're going inside this O'Reilly's, change oil in Mama's car. So until next time, thanks for watching.